You remember something clearly. The room. The words. The way it felt. You would bet your life on it. But it never happened. Not the way you remember it. Not even close. Your brain did not record the past. It rewrote it. And the version it gave you feels so real, so vivid, so certain, that you have been living by it ever since. Today we are going to find out exactly what is happening inside your brain when it creates a memory that was never real. Most people believe their memories work like a video camera. Record once. Play back exactly. But neuroscience tells a completely different story. Every time you remember something, you are not playing back a recording. You are reconstructing it from fragments. And every reconstruction changes the original. What you call a memory is actually the last version your brain built. Not the truth. A story. And once you understand how that story gets written, you will never trust your own certainty the same way again. Here is the first reason your brain creates fake memories. Memory is not storage. It is reconstruction. Every time you remember something, your brain pulls together fragments from different regions and assembles them in the moment. Sights from one area. Sounds from another. Emotions from another. Context from another. It stitches them together like a film editor cutting a scene and calls the result a memory. But here is the problem. Each time you retrieve a memory, it becomes briefly unstable. Vulnerable to change. Your current mood, your current beliefs, new information you just received, all of it can silently edit the memory before it gets stored again. Neuroscientists call this reconsolidation. Every time you remember, you rewrite. And the rewrite feels identical to the original. You cannot tell the difference between the memory you made and the memory your brain just rebuilt for you. Here is the second reason. Your brain cannot tolerate gaps. When you try to remember something and the details are missing, your brain does not leave a blank. It fills the space. Automatically. Invisibly. With the most plausible information available, which usually means what you expected to happen, what usually happens, or what someone told you happened. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus spent decades demonstrating this. In one famous study, she implanted a memory of being lost in a shopping mall as a child into adult participants. The memory had never happened. But 25% of participants not only remembered it, they added rich, specific, emotional details to an event that was completely invented. Your brain is not lying to you. It is doing what it was designed to do, create coherent narratives from incomplete data. The problem is it does this so seamlessly, so automatically, that you experience the fiction as absolute fact. Here is the third reason. Emotion is the most powerful editor your memory has. When something happens during a highly emotional state, fear, anger, grief, love, your brain floods with norepinephrine and cortisol. These chemicals strengthen the emotional core of the memory but distort the details. You remember how it felt with extraordinary intensity. But what actually happened, what was said, who was there, the sequence of events, these details get reshaped by the emotional lens your brain was using at the time. This is why two people can experience the same argument and remember completely different versions of what was said. Neither of them is lying. Both of them are wrong. Each brain preserved the emotional truth as it felt it, and rebuilt the details to match that feeling. The feeling became the filter. And the filter became the memory. Here is the fourth reason. Your memories are not private. They are social. Every time someone describes an event you both experienced, every time you read an account, watch a video, or hear a story, your brain absorbs that information and it can quietly merge with your own memory of the event. This is called the misinformation effect. If someone tells you the car was speeding before the accident, even if it was not, your brain may incorporate that detail into your memory of the accident. You will then remember the speeding car as clearly as if you saw it yourself. This is not a rare phenomenon. It happens constantly. in conversations, in courtrooms, in families. The version of your childhood your parents told you at the dinner table, the stories your siblings repeated, the photographs you looked at, all of it shaped what you think you remember. Some of your most vivid memories may be other people's stories that your brain adopted as your own. Here is the fifth and most unsettling reason. The memories your brain edits the most are the ones about you. Research consistently shows that people misremember their own past behavior in ways that make them look better, more consistent, more moral, more competent, more in control than they actually were. Your brain is not just storing your history. It is curating it, protecting your self-image, maintaining a coherent story of who you are. This means the person you believe yourself to be is partly a character your brain constructed from edited evidence. The beliefs you hold most deeply about yourself. I have always been this way. I never do that. I knew it all along. Many of them are retrospective fictions. Stories your brain told after the fact to make the past make sense. And the more important the memory is to your identity, the more likely it has been quietly rewritten. So what do you actually do with this? 3 things. Starting today. First, when you are absolutely certain you remember something correctly, ask yourself, when did I last retrieve this memory? Every retrieval is a rewrite. The more certain you feel, the more suspicious you should be. Second, in important conversations and conflicts, separate what you remember from what you felt. Your emotional memory is probably accurate. Your factual memory of who said what and when is probably not. This distinction saves relationships. Third, be genuinely curious about other people's versions of shared events. Not defensive. Not dismissive. Curious. Because their brain built a memory from the same event using completely different filters. And sometimes what they remember contains a truth your version quietly removed. Your brain is not lying to you. It is doing something far more complex and far more human. It is trying to make sense of a chaotic world with imperfect tools. But knowing this changes everything. Because the moment you stop trusting your certainty blindly, you start seeing reality more clearly than most people ever will. Comment the word memory below if you have ever remembered something and later realized you were completely wrong. And if you want to understand more about the hidden ways your brain is shaping your reality without your permission, the next video is already waiting. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Your memory is not a record of the past. It is a story your brain keeps telling itself. And now you know who the author is.